In what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Our media product is a psychological thriller, which is tension-filled and contains mystery and suspense, which uses forms and conventions. The audience wants to know what happens after the thriller finishes. We know that the character has committed several crimes, but the audience wants to know how and why the character has got into this situation. Furthermore, we don't see the weapon or object that the protagonist shows to the other character. The flickering that we have edited in is confusing for the audience, but is also intriguing and interesting. The dead body uses connotations of a thriller as it scares the audience and adds suspense because we know that the character is in danger. The link and relationship between the two characters is uneasy and fearful. How does your media product represent particular social groups? The representation of gender is prominent in our thriller film. The psychopath is male, and even though masculine, he seems fearful and fragile. In his head, he is determined to finish his plan, although his actions and behaviours go against this. The flickering between the shots of the character dressed differently also supports the idea that he is confused and mentally unstable. The protagonist is a teenager, his dress sense shows this. Furthermore, this represents that he is young and vulnerable and unsure about what he is doing. What kind of media institution might distribute your media product and why? Although our thriller has conventions and features of our thriller, such as Shutter Island or Seven, there are many local institutions or venues that our thriller can be shown in. For example, Salisbury International Arts Festival and further afield, the PURBECK Film Festival. This would distribute and show our film to a bigger and more varied audience on a national scale. We could also use YouTube, MySpace and Facebook to show our media film. Who would be the audience for your media product? Concerning the BBFC, our thriller film will probably be rated a 15. This is because there is no strong threat of horror nor any drug use. However, there is imitable behaviour such as murder and the suggestion of rape. Although violence is not shown, there is also suggestions of this. We have done audience profiling to know who our audience would be. We can then include features that this audience would like. For example, our thriller is aimed at teenagers, so putting scenery and themes that are relatable to them, this type of audience, would be beneficial. Our audience will also be interested in psychological thrillers. What have you learnt about technologies from the process of constructing this production? For our thriller, we researched a lot before starting filming. Our predominant research tool was that of the internet, but we also watched a lot of thriller and film noir films to gather features and conventions that worked well and looked good. We also learnt a lot from the BBFC as to how to label our thriller. We used Pinnacle Studio 12 to edit the thriller. This is more advanced than others we could have used. As a group, we have learnt how to use a camera and the tripod effectively and correctly. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learnt from the progression to the final product? Our preliminary task went smoothly. We learned how to use different camera shots and angles. Furthermore, we have learned how to edit correctly. We would create a piece that was relatable and realistic to the film noir genre, and our mise en scene shows this clearly. The props we used, such as the cigarette and the costumes, were also realistic and represent the film noir genre. We also learned from our film noir that planning is key, and a better product is produced if planning is done well. How did you attract and address your audience? The unique selling point of our thriller will be the story continues on from the trailer, and the audience wants to know what happens. Our trailer is also relatable and includes real life problems. For example, the mise en scene is relatable as it is set in the forest around where we live. The lighting is naturalistic and the costumes are normal dress for a teenager. Our camera work is also intriguing and interesting.